Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I wanted to do a get ready with me, let you know what's going on with me, find out how you're doing, what you're up to this September so far, and use some products, some that are new, some that I've rediscovered recently in my collection, and let's put a face of makeup on. I already have my face primed, by the way. I'm using the Lancome Prep and Matte. I like this because when it gets really hot where I live in Eastern Washington, sometimes I feel like my face is gonna melt off in the heat. It's a little cooler today. It's only gonna be like 90 degrees, but still I produce enough oils that a little mattification is not a bad thing. I don't use it in the wintertime, just in the warmer months. So I'm gonna start there. The other thing I'm gonna do is put on my under eye concealer. It has been kind of like a rough week. So my husband and I this whole week have been working on getting our old flooring ripped up. We have new flooring coming, and to save ourselves a few dollars here and there, we have decided to remove the flooring ourselves and to, you know, pick up the baseboards, to remove them, paint them, reapply them, recaulk them. It's just gonna save us some money. And it allowed me to pick flooring that's a little bit nicer than I would have been able to afford if I had somebody, you know, the installers, you know, demo the floor, take off the baseboards, paint them. You know, it just, you're paying for all the little extras. And I thought, stuff that we can do, let's do ourselves. And so my husband, bless his heart, took a whole week off from work. And he has been helping to get all the flooring up. I just thought naively, because I've never had to do anything like this before, that it was just, you know, you cut the carpet, you rip it up. How hard is it? I watched a video on how to take off baseboards, like in 20 minutes, you can have a whole room done. I was like, no problem. And my husband's like, it's a little bit more involved than that, sweetheart. He's such a good egg, kind and thoughtful. Got all the tools out, and I was like, it's not gonna take that long. We spent 2 days, he and I, 2 days this week, Tuesday and Wednesday, just pulling out carpet, pulling out padding, pulling up the old. We had linoleum in the kitchen and in the laundry room, and we have taken out the linoleum originally that had been in the bathrooms, but the original linoleum was still there from when we got the house. I think we've been in this house 17 years, and it was kind of a starter home, and we were sure it was going to be, it wasn't brand new for us. We were the second people to be in the home. It was fairly new when we got it, but it was definitely showing signs of wear. The flooring needed to be replaced. I've got a 16-year-old dog. We've raised 2 kids here. I've had 3 cats. And, you know, pets do what pets do. We've been really good, especially with our older, would it be fair to call her geriatric dog? She's 16. She's an old girl. She's really good at letting us know when she needs to go out, but when it's a busy day and we miss the signals of her looking at us and looking at the door and looking at us and looking at the door, like, I gotta go. and we miss it. I'm in the kitchen, my kids are busy doing homework. She's been like trying to signal. She doesn't bark, she doesn't scratch, she doesn't really, she just looks at you. You know, she's a real quiet dog. Then she goes, I'm sorry, I can't hold anymore, I just gotta go. So we have one of those carpet cleaning machines that we, you know, keep on hand because we're bad pet owners sometimes. But as we were ripping it all up the floor, I'm like, I'm so glad to get rid of this. The dog has peed on this carpet so much. We've cleaned it, we've sanitized it as much as possible, but the truth is, it's gotta go. What I didn't know, and why don't they tell you this? And maybe they do, and I was watching the wrong videos. Everybody was making it seem like it was so easy to take out your old flooring and take off your baseboards. It'll take you just a matter of minutes. No, it took a long time, because you gotta pull out every nail, every staple, every bit of the tack strip. And then some of the tacks fall out of the tack strip to hold the carpet to the edge of the room. And then you have those things running around. I'm not getting my new flooring for another 3 weeks, but we took it out now because it's the week my husband had off of work. I couldn't do it by myself. And I didn't want to ask him to do it in the evenings and on the weekends after having spent the whole week working. It just seemed like if you have the time off, let's get the demo done now so that when they come to put the new flooring in, we don't have to pay the $1,500 to have them do it for us. We do it, save ourselves a little cash, and invest that in better flooring. And then on top of that, we'll, you know, feel a sense of accomplishment. But he He knew how much work it was going to be, and I was like, it's not going to be that hard. Ow. I literally use muscles I haven't used in such a long time. I'm not a real active, outdoorsy person. Your girl is not, you know, super athletic. My legs hurt. My backside hurts. My knees hurt. I was, even with pads for my knees, I was kneeling and I had knee pads and I was still like, ow. Like my shoulder blades, my arms, like I am just a bunch of ouch. My husband knew what to expect and he's a super hard worker and he was just like going like 100 miles an hour and I was like, wait, what can we get like a cold beverage break? He was like, sure. He was really sweet. He's like, you know what? Let's leave for 15 minutes and go get, you know, a soda, or let's go get an iced tea. Like he took me out a couple of times just because he knew I was like dying on the inside. Oh, it's the least glamorous thing I've done in a long time, but I'll tell you, it's nice. We're to the point now, and it looks kind of weird in our house, where there's nothing but like the subfloor, like that press board, particle board, I don't know what it is that they have down, and then they put flooring on top of that when they're building a house. And it's weird and it's strange, and I'm worried because it's not super finished that we're all wearing shoes in the house, but I'm worried about the pets. Like, are they gonna get splinters in their paws? And I've seen my cat like licking her paws off. I was like, oh no. So I'm like sweeping every day, vacuuming the floor every day, trying to get as much of the little this, that, and the other up so nobody gets irritated paws, but I'm still wondering if we did this too soon. This is one of those foundations that survived my foundation declutter. Cat hair, I feel it. And I actually really like it. This is from Laura Mercier. This is the Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear. I feel like it's a really, really beautiful foundation. And it is very full coverage, but somehow still looks fairly natural. I have been enjoying the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. I have the lightest shade in 090N, and I'm going to use this under the eyes today. My husband not only has been like demoing the house, he's also, oh, little bare spot, has been spending a lot of time with the kids this week, and I really appreciate that about him. But my oldest daughter, her school is going on a rafting trip today, and they wanted parents to go along. And you know how I mentioned that he takes the kids camping. They do outdoor stuff with dad. I am not an outdoor sort of person. My daughter was like, Mom, you want to come rafting? And I was like, and be in the sun all day and sweat and with a bunch of other teenage kids who may or may not be in a good mood. Not really. And my husband was like, I'll go. And I was like, excellent. Best parent ever. And here I am like, I'll pick you up when you're done. So my husband is off rafting with my oldest and her 8th grade class. They are at a smaller school. There's not that many 8th graders. I think there might be like 45, maybe 50 8th graders. And so there's probably, you know, half as many, again, parents who are on the trip. It's probably, you know, some teachers, some 8th graders, maybe 75, 80 people on this trip. And it's going to be one of those things she'll really enjoy. I'm glad that one of us is an outdoorsy person. My husband was joking the other day. He's like, I saw the perfect t-shirt for you. It says indoorsy. And I was like, oh yes, that is so me. I'm throwing some of this underneath the eye. I'm going to use the Kosas Cloud Set Powder all over. I have the lightest shade in Airy. Later this month, I'm going to go spend about a week with my mom and dad. They live in Ohio. I live in Washington State, so we don't see each other as frequently as we would like. And my mom was able to visit in the early summer. She was here in June and early July. Her brother passed last year, and because of what's been happening in the world, we finally had a funeral for my uncle in June, and she came out for that. But my dad, there were still limits on how many people could be at funerals in California, so my dad couldn't come. It was me and my mom and her brother, and so I haven't seen my dad since March of 2020. He was here for my girls' birthdays, and he and my mom try and come out every year, and they were so bummed that they couldn't come this year because just like, I don't know that it's safe to travel. I'm like, well, FaceTime, don't worry. But they've missed seeing the kids. I'm not traveling with my kids on an airplane until my youngest can be vaccinated. So I feel like, I want to see my folks. I want to spend some time with them. So I'm going to go. And since my husband works from home now, I feel like I'm not having to figure out who's going to watch the kids while he's at work, or it just works out a little bit better. So flying in the middle of the week, returning in the middle of the next week, so I don't have to pay a little bit more for air travel, but I'll be excited to go and spend some time with my folks. I'm going to keep it drugstore. I'm going to use some e.l.f. products. I'm going to use their little tiny brow pencil, and I'm going to start on my brow that is the sparsest. I feel like my brows are a little bit easier to do since I started using a serum in my brows. I feel like I have more hair, it's a little bit darker. I don't have to spend as much time kind of filling them in. It's so quiet in the house. It's been a long time since I've had the whole house to myself. When my husband was still working at the office, he's changed jobs this summer. He went from working at a location to working from home for the same business, but he's able to work from home now, which is fantastic. And he has an office set up here in the house. But that means that even when he's busy working, every now and again he'll, make a cup of coffee, need to use the restroom, take a 5-minute break, and like do some push-ups or something. And I'm just like, wait, what? Huh? The kids are finally back in school, and I thought it was going to be quiet, and it's not. There's another person here. And today, since he's rafting with my oldest and my youngest is at school, it's like, it's just me and the 2 pets. So the cat and the dog and me are having a real quiet, peaceful day. I feel like if I keep going, I'm going to end up with like really bold, really Sharpie brows. So I'm going to throw a little bit of the e.l.f. Wow Brow in. It's a fiber tinted brow gel. I really like this one. I feel like it's a fantastic drugstore brow product. I used this the other day, and it was one of the things that I had picked up recently from the drugstore. It's from Essence. It's one of these little mini eyeshadow palettes. It's the Taupe It Up palette. It has 6 shades in it. It is light, so I feel like if you're, medium skin tone, not every shade in here would work well for you, or might look a little not quite right. And if you have deeper skin tones, it would definitely look ashy. So yes, this is not for everybody, but I'm going to start with this shade right here. This is kind of like that light. I was surprised at how deep the shade was. I was thinking it's kind of just like a light taupe, and it is fairly light. I don't get a ton of definition out of it, but it definitely gives enough of a difference. I like how subtle it is. I'm going to use this matte gray here as well. I'm going to put this just on the outside edge. But I definitely want a cool toned look. And the problem I always have is I have so many peach and warm tone blushes and warm bronzers that if I'm not careful, sometimes a cool and a warm mixed together work really well, and sometimes it just looks like you weren't thinking your look through. So I'm going to do the eyes first, and then I'll see if I can find the right shades to complement the look, and I'll finish up the face last. I really liked this shade here. I'm going to put this on kind of like the center lid. I was surprised at how well this wore. It's not an expensive eyeshadow palette. Essence is, of course, drugstore prices. I like that it's a smaller palette with 6 shades. I feel like there's a lot of smaller palettes coming out, and I like that a lot. It makes me happy, but sometimes the quality is hit or miss. And I feel like overall, this is a good palette for the price. I don't know that it's just like blow me out of the water palette overall, but on a budget, this is really very, very pretty. And then I'm going to use the lightest metallic in here, and I'm going to put that right on the inner third. I'm going to use a combo of this lighter brown and this gray on a kind of denser brush like this. And I'm going to use this on my lower lash line. It's not a pencil brush. I don't know what this type of brush is called, but it's shorter bristles, very compact. It's great for smudging. I always think of them as like little smudger brushes, and it brings just enough pigment to the area. It's not too big. Then I knock off what's left on there, and then I just take the time to really buff this in. I don't want a really heavy dark look. I want a lighter look, but I am liking these cooler tones. I'm gonna take a minute to put on some mascara and some eyeliner, and I'll be right back. I thought since I was using that new eyeshadow palette from Essence today, I would keep the rest of my eye look Drugstore. So I have on their Lash Princess Curl in Volume. I also have on the micro pencil from Revlon, and I have the Voluminous Lash Primer from L'Oreal. That goes along with everything else. And I guess really affordable e.l.f. brows today too. So a little expensive on the face products, but the eyebrows and the eyes are definitely all Drugstore. Let's put a little color on this face. I'm feeling like I'm blending into my blouse. Like we're all just shades of beige. I'm gonna throw this on. This is the Take Home the Bronze bronzer from Balm. Do they still make this? I don't know that they do. I don't know. I was mentioning it recently in a bronzer declutter, and somebody was like, I can't find it any place but on Amazon. And I was like, oh, what? I love this. I feel like it's a really flattering shade for me, and it's light, but it's not so light that it's like almost not there. I feel like already got a lot more color to the face, and I've definitely been needing that. I haven't used this in forever. I'm going to throw this on today. This is the powder blush from Clinique. This is the shade Pink Mocha. The only thing I don't like about this is how narrow the pan is, so I'm using a smaller brush than normal, but I do think the shade is really pretty, and it's not too warm, which is kind of what I'm going for. This was, I picked this up a long time ago. I've had it in my collection for a while. This was the first blush I ever bought. Not this one, but this shade from Clinique, and it came in this like mint green packaging. It was $19.98. My mom took me after my 14th birthday to get some makeup, and I loved it. And that was kind of like, I'd been waiting, so I was old enough to start wearing makeup, and I realized that my oldest is almost at that same age, and I feel like it was a good time to start playing with makeup without having like too much. And my daughter can't wait to get into it, but it's weird that I feel like I remember that moment so distinctly. But now my oldest is almost at that age, and she's like, you said 14? And I was like, yes, I did, but your skin is so perfect, you don't need makeup. You know, anyway. So I feel like this is a really pretty blush, and it's very understated. And this is the exact same tone in the same sort of packaging. I threw away the little brush that comes in here because it's so terrible. I wish they would, you know, make the packaging a little bit smaller, make the pan a little bit bigger. Like if they were to go like this side and fill like the whole pan here, that'd be perfect. I don't need a brush, because a brush like that, I don't like it. For highlight today, I'm going to use this powder from Lancome. This is the Absolu powder, and it's really pretty, but it's one of those powders, it's loose. You could use it all over your face. I feel like and there have been times that I have used it all over. I like it as a targeted highlight that's soft and pretty. maybe a little bit more bold than I thought here. I'm going to knock the rest off of here and just kind of buff it in. But I like that it's not chunky. It's not glittery. It's really soft and pretty. And as long as you don't end up with a stripe and you take the minute to kind of blend, it's just gorgeous. I love, love, love this. I'm reaching for one of my favorite lipsticks. This is from Eldridge. This is the Luxuriously Lucent lipstick in Spirited Away. I really like this little palette. This is the second time that I have used it on camera. I've used it a couple of times since I first tried it, and I'll tell you, it's actually super nice. You're not going to get a really dark look. It kind of has the same sort of vibe as the Lilas palette. There's a little bit more pigment in the Lilas palette, and it pulls a little bit more violet. I think you can see that right here. You get a little bit more of a purpley taupe look here, but I feel like these shades are similar. This is going to give you a ton more pigment. These are the two shimmers from the Lilas palette, and these are two of the three from the, what is it, Taupe Up palette. And I feel like you're getting a very similar look here. I feel like it could very much be taking inspiration from one. I feel like these two mattes here are really, really soft. That you can't get a ton of pigment out of them. I feel like you're gonna get a little bit more pigment here, but not a lot. These are really soft mattes, but I feel like the metallics are great. I feel like I could probably get a little bit more sparkle out of this, and I feel like the sparkle might last a little longer. I feel like it looks good now and it wears well. It just doesn't end up looking quite as metallic and vibrant like this on the eye. And the one from Viseart does. But if you don't want to pay, what are these, like $22, $24 each? If you don't want to pay that and you want to get something drugstore price and you want something that's inspired by, very much, you're getting the same vibe here, for sure, and at a fraction of the price. Thank you so much for watching today. Let me know what you're up to this month. I'm working on flooring. I'm gonna go see my folks. My kids are enjoying being back in school. My husband will probably be grateful to be working next week, so he doesn't have to be doing more home improvements because I've got a list. Always do. Let me know what you're up to. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day. I will see you again soon. Bye.